And to discuss the first round of French general elections, we're joined by Emmanuel Dupuy, President of Institute for European Perspective and Security. Good evening, Emmanuel.
Hello.
So, your first reactions to the first results?
Well, the polls gave exactly the same results as the perspective or the prediction predicted precisely. A large victory of National Rally, a close call for the extreme left, which has done a significant raise in the last days, and of course the collapse of the centrist bloc, which clearly is defeated tonight, with this reality that Gabriel Attal is no longer prime minister, and that most likely there will be a cohabitation. Either it will be with a prime minister, with two prime ministers who took the floor very rapidly, Jean-Luc Mélenchon on one side saying that he's ready for that, and Jordan Bardella saying that he's already prime minister and calling for mass mobilization of the electors for the next week. And of course, we have to confirm and to assess the fact that this crucial election convinced the French voters of the importance of the vote. The last time we had these numbers of voters, almost 70%, was the last century in 1986, precisely when there was a cohabitation between the socialist president François Mitterrand and the conservative prime minister Jacques Chirac.
Right, so what's the most likely scenario? A broad coalition of the centrists and the left, or the far right taking it all?
No, there's no risk at this point that there is coalition between the center and the left. There has been in the last minutes in the French media all of the leaders saying that they do not want to accept the hand that the French president has given at the beginning of the evening, saying that he wills to build a coalition. Most likely, everyone has declined this. Of course, we have to assess the fact that Jean-Luc Mélenchon has spoken already, but not all the other leaders of the left, neither the Olivier Faure from the Socialist Parties or Madame Tondelier from the Greens or Raphaël Glucksmann. But most likely, it will be a case-by-case scenario. Let's not forget that we have 577 elections. There will be less elections because some have already been voted or already been elected in the first round. But there is most likely two scenarios, not three. One scenario is the National Rally and its allies having the same dynamic. 33% gives a clear an absolute majority between 250, 305 MPs. You need 289 to have this majority. And the other scenario is the leftist front, which will have the benefit of some centrist voters from Emmanuel Macron desisting themselves for the leftists and not the contrary.
Mm-hmm. So what impact do you think that these early results will have on French voters? Because one thing is how politicians decide amongst themselves how to distribute votes, but how the voters will react.
Again, it depends on each reality. There was more than 2,500 candidates. Not everyone sent candidates. Every party sent candidates in the 577 majority. It will depend on who will be in the second round, who will be in capacity to stay in French we call it triangulaire. We're having three candidates. There may be some cases where you will have four candidates. You need 21% of the cast of the voters to be in the possibility to run for a second term. There will be very few, but there will be cases where you will have four candidates, but most likely two, and more, three, maybe 100 MPs, 100 circumscriptions will be in that case. So again, it's not important to say whether or not you will have a centrist bloc, a leftist bloc, or a rightist bloc. The importance is in each circumscription, what will be the decision made by the leftists, the rightists, and the centrists? Will they vote for one or the other?
Mm-hmm. Right, I know it's way too early to chill champagne, but which of the parties can call themselves, winners?
Oh, clearly National Rally. National Rally has multiplied by 2 its numbers of last time in 2022, it only had 18.7%. Today, maybe 33, 34, 35. As you know, the votes in the major cities, the polls in the major cities close at 8. So we do not have still all the results of Paris, of Marseille, Lille, and the big city, and Lyon and the big cities. So maybe Rassemblement National will have more than the 33% that is assessed today, tonight at this hour. Maybe the leftists will have more than the 20 and so on percent that they have. So clearly, National Rally, because during the last 2 years, since 2022, it has doubled, multiplied by 2, its voters. It is the biggest party. You were saying that there is a winner, another winner, social society, so civil society. The youngsters have more slightly understood the importance of the vote. 2.9 million procuration. This is absolutely huge. It has never had this number of this reality. And as I mentioned, the very important participation of the voters on this round, it may not very well be the case for the second round. There is a huge interest to showcase the sustain to one or the other blocks in the first round. Not sure there will be as much as voters in the second.
Mm-hmm. So what caused the millions of young people to go to polling stations? Was it in particular this extremely famous captain of the French football team who called on them to do something about the rising popularity of the Front National, Rassemblement National, pardon me?
That if you assess the call of Kylian Mbappé as some of the sport and the sportsmen, let's say, did not work totally, since the National Rally is still the strongest political party. It is tonight the strongest political party in France. No, I think there is a sort of hysterization of the importance of the issue. Gabriel Attal, no longer Prime Minister, or caretaker Prime Minister, said that for the first time the electors will vote directly for the Prime Minister, which is in a way very true. There is a form of radicalization in both sides. I should add in the three sides, from the president's point of view, calling for the potential civil war if the National Rally is the first party to win the election, and on the other hand, calling for a let's say, determined or systematic call for the electors for the second round to vote for leftists from the LFI party, because there is still the, let's say, the risk or the reality, or some would argue, the necessity to fight against some anti-Semite, most likely, position defended by some of the electors from the leftist party tonight.
Mm-hmm. Is the idea of the famous Cordon Sanit still alive in France?
No, it has totally collapsed tonight. It does not work, since the National Rally is by far the biggest party in France tonight. The Cordon Sanitaire of the Republican Front is a trick used by Emmanuel Macron in order to try to maintain the power. But this would have worked if he is the second, but he's not the second, he's the third. Therefore, there's no longer a Cordon Sanitaire, as you mentioned. There is a block-to-block choice for the electors next week. Either you abide by the fact that there is the National Rally and some of his allies wanting a clear nationalist, sovereign, let's say, xenophobe or position, or harder position, or very conservative or ultra-conservative position, and on the other hand, a coalition of progressive parties who have joined together for very pragmatical electoral reason in order to prevent the National Rally to come to power. There is no such thing as the National Republican Front. It could have worked if Emmanuel Macron had not gone into the political arena. And I think the French voters have given a clear determination whether they have voted for a candidate from Rassemblement National Rally or the new Popular Front, or even some candidates who were not totally in the majority of Emmanuel Macron that they no longer want Emmanuel Macron to take the power, to be still maintaining the totality of its power.
Mm-hmm. Now, the key player in the French political system is undoubtedly the president. So do you think that the National Rally already sets its sights to the 2027 presidential election?
Well, let's say that this cohabitation will not only have a president and a prime minister, it will have a president-to-be, and a prime minister. And this president-to-be is Marine Le Pen, and the prime minister most likely is Jordan Bardella. Therefore, the president Emmanuel Macron will have very less power than the president who were working on the cohabitation mode. François Mitterrand was a strong president. Jacques Chirac was a strong prime minister with a very clear majority, a very Republican, rightist, centrist, liberal majority, and it worked because they got together and they were on some tracks on the same position, which is absolutely not the case between Jordan Bardella and Emmanuel Macron. It will be a very harsh and very difficult cohabitation. The president will not have the capacity to overrun the results of the votes this week and next week, and it was very clear and very precisely said that the so-called legitimacy of the president on foreign policy and defense, and this was in the words of Jordan Bardella, no longer a domaine réservé, something that the president only can take in consideration and not the prime minister.
Mm-hmm. You said that it would be Jordan Bardella for the prime minister seat and Marine Le Pen for the president. That would be like the fourth time she tries that? 4 times a charm?
Third?
Third, okay. That's how the saying goes. So 3 times a charm, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, she's in the continuation of, as I said, the constant rise of the National Rally. Her father, Jean-Marie Le Pen, would have had all the difficulty, has been prevented by the voters who saw in him a very neo-fascist and very old-type politician, which is not the case with Marine Le Pen, and even less with Jordan Bardella. They have adapted themselves to a very, let's say, lenient, conservative or ultra-conservative that you can find in proximity, very close to Fratelli d'Italia in Italy or Fidesz in Hungary, and I should say in PiS in Poland as well.
And it seems that the German AfD is following the very same way lately. Emmanuel Dupuy, President of Institute for European Perspective and Security, was our guest tonight. Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure.
Pleasure as well.
Thank you.